All right, guys. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome back to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. I'm your host Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Vancilalo.
All right, man. Man, the Cyclones with a dominant win, 52-7, and basically everything we talked about on Thursday, Cody, everything happened for us. It was a very, very offensively balanced game. 237 yards rushing, 4.9 yards for carry. What are your thoughts?
Just a thorough victory. I think it was from start to finish, just kind of what I wanted to see. It was just I was coming out of the bye week. I didn't want anything to slack off, and I think it the team certainly met and exceeded those expectations. I did not foresee the fact that we would continue to put our foot on the neck, as the saying goes. Even in that zone fourth quarter, wasn't expecting to continue opening the playbook, especially to our back Connor Mobley. So that was not something I saw coming.
Yeah, a lot of people were surprised by the Conor Mobley thing because everybody thought it was going to be J.J. Cole. I'm like, well, I mean, obviously it's Mobley because Mobley's been playing better in practice. So the coaches obviously think that Mobley is better. But we saw him basically for the whole entire half. And I gotta say, man, I like what I see, and the future is definitely bright for the Cyclones, that quarterback.
Absolutely, just obviously having the being there and seeing everything go on in real time, just amazing showing. I would have to say this I mentioned earlier, but balance on both sides of the ball. In fact, almost 500 yards of total offense, and it was almost a 50-50 split actually between rushing and passing.
Uh huh. It was like 252 in the air, 237 on the ground. Like, see, nah. In a perfect world, that's what we want to see. That's like the typical. That's like it's going to be our typical offense. Now, obviously, a perfect world don't exist, but you know, I I think it got me more encouraged about the run game this year.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at on paper, Abu Sama didn't do too much, but that's because he didn't really need to do too much. We were just seeing where our depth is and how developed they are, and I mean, Jalen Jackson, I'd say out of the running back room, him and Carson Hansen were the two main stars. And Jalen Jackson himself some great runs, and then Carson Hansen with those two TDs. It shows we had depth at the running back room. So, and that's gonna be really key for the Big 12 play later in the year, like October, November, when you start really trying to get to Arlington, get to the Big 12 title game. You're gonna need that depth.
Yeah, man. I was just laughing yesterday during the game because, bro, Abu is making them dudes look silly with those stiff arms, and then on the same drive, he stiff armed the same guy with the opposite arm. I'm like,
Dude,
wow.
yeah, no. Watching that play, I'm thinking I think Arkansas State went to the wrong place to be doing a slip and slide. Like if they wanted to go ahead and go slip and slide, and they should have just gone down 30 minutes south all the way to Adventureland, go to the Adventure Bay.
Right. It was crazy, dude. I was like, yo, I'm like, Abu ain't playing, man.
Yeah,
Um,
not just him. Jalen Noel even caught a few guys slipping as well. He put one guy straight on his bottom. Like he just sat him down.
yeah, I know, because everybody was sort of like being like shaking scary with Rocco. I'm like, y'all, I was like, look, Rocco is going off a little bit slow. Like, yes, he threw a bad pick, but as we saw, he responded. I was like, y'all, I was like, relax. I was like, this game is not in danger. Um, if
Hmm.
anything, it really just has gotten me encouraged for the rest of the season, man. Just the sky is definitely the limit for this team. At least now we know. And let's talk about and Aiden Floor. I'm so happy for him that he got that touchdown at the end of the game. I was really really happy. I know he was a local Des Moines guy.
Yeah, I mean, he at the end of the game just absolutely finds himself a lane and gets himself a touchdown. That's great to see. I think at that point we were down to what our fourth or fifth stringers, and there's
Mm-hmm.
still we didn't lay back on the play. We didn't lay back. We let the guys just do what the first stringers do. So shows that we meant to make this game as more of a development type of game. We didn't hold back.
Yeah, I think that's the number one takeaway in this game is that we didn't hold back, man. We were going to be aggressive from the start. which like is totally against usually what Matt Campbell goes with. But hey, maybe with every year he goes here, he's will adjust, and now we know that like Mouse has Mouse has definite full control of this offense, just with the different types of play calling. I really really like that Maryland eye, or I'll just call it the Cyclone eye formation. Um,
Yeah,
that's going to be nice getting into the red zone.
absolutely. I mean, when I saw the Maryland or the Cyclone Eye, as it's called now, yeah, seeing a formation like that, especially in goal line situations, it's almost perfect. Like you get your two tight ends who
Mm-hmm.
actually throughout the game they've been blocked. The tight end room was blocking so well yesterday. They were doing so well in the blocking game. It made touchdowns almost easy. I mean, Dylan Leon, his touchdown run was untouched.
Dylan Leon, his was untouched. Tyler Moore, he went in, and the Titans just were very very involved in the offense yesterday. Just with that little with play action, I look for that to be a big 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 part of the game plan, especially next week going to into the Houston game.
Yeah, so I guess kind of from you, like what was like your best plays? Like what was like your play, like the play for you from that game?
Um, it's probably going to be the obvious one, but man, it's got to be that one hand, that fake, dude, that fake, uh, QB sneak and throws a little jump pass, and Ben Bramer comes out, reaches out with his paw, and grabs it in. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like we
Yeah.
knew this kid was athletic, but my god, dude, that was nuts. What about for you?
I mean, yeah, I probably would have to say the exact same thing. I think that's like the play for everybody to take away from this game. I mean, you talk about the athleticism of Ben Bramer, but obviously, like if you look at it from a more analytical standpoint, like you more look at it from a tendency standpoint, I mean, it makes sense. Like to put on that situation, it just reminded me exactly what happened about like last year actually with Easton Dean. Kind of had a similar play and essentially just like had our tight end just go up like off a fake QB sneak because Rocco Beck had already shown he could QB sneak, so it was great for him to for Mauser to call that, knowing that Arkansas State would bite on that fake and just get it over the top and just get it to your playmaker. And Bramer made a play.
I'm just glad they left that in the playbook because if you can definitely catch a defense slipping on that. Man, that's definitely one of the things for me. And I one thing for me. And this is my closing thoughts at least for this, and then we're definitely going to talk tons of Big 12. There's so much that I want to say, and
Yeah,
and so many irrational thoughts I have for Iowa State. But man, we got to give off the offensive line credit, man. They were mauling yesterday. Like, we've been talking about, man, I really want this offensive line to improve. They definitely have taken the steps. Jalen Travis, man, was as advertised, dude. That
yep,
big hoss on the offensive line has made such a difference. Definitely needs more reps at left tackle, but man, he did great yesterday.
yeah. And speaking of that, Dylan Barrett on the line as well. I got to see some of Dylan Barrett. I was actually pretty stoked to see that he was a starter on the offensive line, and he did his job as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, open up running lanes, protecting the quarterback, and that's what you want to see. And I wasn't coming into this game expecting our offensive line to be top of the top of the league, but at least like half. So it's a
Right.
good step up. It's a step up from where we were like previous years. So we're going to see that line play, and if we can continue to dominate like that, I think there's going to be no limit to where Iowa State's offense can go.
Oh, definitely, man. When you have a good offensive line, you're basically able to do anything.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right, so
man.
just checking in before we get into the rest of the stuff here. Actually, the AP poll has just released for week 4 yesterday's slated games, and the Iowa State Cyclones are on the up. They're up from number 20 up to number 18 in the AP poll.
Man, let's go, bro. Man, I like they keep inching up, like, and these next few weeks are gonna be crucial, man. I mean, we're really, really going to see try to see the maturation of this team, to see how far they've grown, and we'll get to
Yep.
see it in real time. My Iowa game really, really showed me something.
Hmm.
My bold or slash hot take is Cody. I think we are going to still be undefeated going into the second bye week. Like I truly believe that we're going to be 7-0 going into this
You
bye
know
week.
what?
Clip you
Yeah.
can clip it, whatever y'all clip it, clown me. I don't care. Tag me on my Twitter. You know where to find me. But
Yeah.
like I truly think that we can be 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the way Iowa State's looking, and we'll get to the rest of the Big 12 in a second here, but the way the rest of the conference is laying out, it's looking prime for the taking for Iowa State to be what that 7-0 heading into the
Mm-hmm.
second bye. We get heading to that home stretch in November. So yeah, I mean, there, yeah, let's go take a look around the Big 12, see what everybody was up to.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. 1 second. Screen. And boom. Here we go. All right. So we're gonna go down. We'll go.
Yeah, I might be able to filter just by Big 12 conference. You can do that.
All right. Yep. Sorry. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
right
There
there.
we go. Big 12 and boom. Okay. So the first score shows us Utah and Oklahoma State. Cam Rising was a game time decision in this game. He didn't end up playing, but Isaac Wilson came in there and did well. Jorian Singer had a great game, a guy we talked about in the preview pod on Utah. Um, and yeah, I mean, and Michael Bernard, 182 yards. Utah had an impressive road win. Utah looked good, man.
Yeah, I mean they dominated from start to finish. The final score is a little deceiving, but it was all Utah from the jump. Like they just
Yeah,
controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled. They were more physical. They were better like in play, and their defense really showed out for that 95% of the game. They showed out.
yeah. Oklahoma State's offense could not get it going. Alan Bowman struggled, man, in this game, and they went to their backup at one point. So gonna be it. That was an interesting game. Now Utah has the leg up, and now it bodes for Oklahoma State to have an interesting matchup. Man, they got to play at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan next week. And funny thing is that the next thing I think this is probably the most surprising result. Man, K State goes up to Provo at night and gets destroyed 38-9. I mean, I don't know what K State was doing. I don't know why they're trying to make Avery Johnson a drop back passer, but that's what they did, and they're not letting them really use his strengths. So I was really sort of dumbfounded by K State's offensive approach.
Yeah, I mean just said people said it before. Obviously, big like going to Provo at night is one of the most intimidating atmospheres playing, and obviously Iowa State we controlled it from we controlled that last year. We showed like it wasn't actually meant to be, but I guess that's was kind of a one off because K State clearly has the Provo, and I mean they were actually a 7.5 point favorite on the line, and I mean if you had BYU, I mean if it was me personally, I would have actually gone BYU to cover the spread because I think just how BYU plays at night, knowing that atmosphere and the fans, that would be a difficult place to play, and they certainly showed it. I mean, Jake Retzlaff actually had a pretty solid performance. He did what he needed to do. That defense of BYU was absolutely on point, getting a couple picks off of Avery Johnson, and then talk about the punt return that almost went bad for BYU, but then all the way to the end zone, circle back around, basically at his own two, and he ends up in the end zone for a BYU touchdown.
That return was unreal. I was like, wow. Got the corner and he was just running down the sideline. And then yeah, Houston, Cincinnati, man, and now look, BYU looks like a force now with that defense, bro. BYU looks like a force, man. They're tied with Utah at 4-0. Obviously, it's early, but I'm not gonna lie. I did not expect this from BYU.
Yeah, me neither. Now, like I'm thinking, like it's just because like I think now BYU is actually acclimated to the Big 12. I still had like even last year when they first joined the Big 12, I had pretty high hopes for them. And last year obviously was a learning experience for the team, learning what it's like to play in the Big 12. And I think now with that experience under their belt, I think BYU is ready to go ahead and be a top half team with the Big 12.
Definitely, we shall see what happens. And yeah, since Cincinnati is also on the roll, I believe they're also still undefeated right now. They blank Houston 34-0. Man, this was just an ugly showing by the Cougs.
Yeah. Houston, man, like for that little brief moment when we thought maybe Houston would have been like solid after their only losing only by 4 to Oklahoma and then going and destroying Rice, winning 33-7. Some people were saying, okay, we got to watch out for Houston here. I think even Iowa State fans in our game, we were a little concerned that maybe Houston was scarier than we thought. But now with the showing that they had against Cincinnati, I don't feel as scared of it now because at the end, uh, their quarterback went 11, Donovan Smith 11 to 16, 73 yards and only in a pick, and so they only had 233 yards of total yards and 3 turnovers. So I'm thinking for Iowa State, I mean we'll lose more of this later, but if we can force Houston to turn the ball over, we can easily win. We could win that game convincingly.
Oh, definitely, bro. I'm really really confident going into next week, and yeah, with Cincinnati, Scott Satterfield has these boys rolling. And everybody was like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna be the worst team." Now, hey, they're 4-0. I mean, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they fare. Cincinnati is up there right now. There's just a whole lot of stuff right now. The Big 12 is chaotic, Cody, and I love it.
Yep.
And then let's go to the the pissed off fans bowl.
Mhm.
Kansas versus West Virginia. So yeah, this game was a little bit weird because there was I believe a few hour lightning delay. And at that point Kansas was up 21-17. And they and West Virginia outscored them the rest of the game 15-7. And West Virginia ends up pulling out a close one, 32-28.
And the thing is, even after that lightning delay, Kansas actually went up another touchdown. So they had about an 11-point lead with I'd say like 3.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they got a touchdown. Yeah, they had an 11-point lead with about 5.5 minutes to go. Excuse me. So about
Mm-hmm.
that. So, and this is what West Virginia actually ran into just the previous week when they had a 10-point lead in the backyard brawl and lost it. They gave Kansas a taste of what they felt last week. So that's what you see. And then obviously just Kansas, man. Like, I think Jawan Daniels is clearly not that dude. It will be clear that he had no expectations. He outperformed them. And then Devin Neal, that team last year, I don't know where all that hype from last, like how they got carried over this year.
Uh, well, we figured out that it was all Andy Kotelnicki, and Andy Kotelnicki ended up being a bigger difference on for Jalen Daniels than we
Yeah.
thought.
Yep. And now the Kansas fan base wants Jeff Grimes fired into the sun.
Yeah, Jeff
All KU
Grimes.
Twitter.
Yeah, dude, Jeff Grimes uh, is not a good offensive coordinator
Nope.
at all. And here was another sneaky good matchup in the Big 12. Texas Tech pulls out a win over previously undefeated Arizona State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously Arizona State. This was a pivotal game. I said Arizona State, Texas Tech. That was going to be pivotal for those two programs. would Arizona State be truly who they were in the non-con, or would Texas Tech even get back on their footing, get back on their feet after that loss at Washington State?
Yeah. Texas Tech showed that they're still up. Hey, don't forget about us. So they showed that yesterday. Arizona State's still going to be a tough out. Obviously, they have my respects now. And this one just an ugly game, man. TCU gets blown out by SMU 66-42. Man, that defense is putrid.
Yes, it
Man,
is.
I just I don't know what they did, and also TCU's coach got ejected in this game, which is
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, Sonny Dykes before TCU was actually the former head coach of SMU, so it felt like kind of poetic for SMU to host TCU in that manner, and for them to put up 66 points. Like, that's unexcusable. Like, for TCU, like, there's no reason you should be allowing 66 points for any opponent, even if it was against you. Like, that should not be what what should be accepted. And TCU, man, from being in the national championship 2 years ago to what they are now, that needs to be studied. That needs to be studied.
I mean, I think I might have a theory. I think he may have won with Gary Patterson's players. I mean, because that roster is not as good as it was. There was so much NFL talent on that roster, and now it's just like, man, where did that all go? They were
Yeah.
active in the transfer portal, but being active in the transfer portal doesn't mean that they're automatically going to hit. Like, I think that's what we're going to learn in this era of college football.
Yep.
And lastly, man, this was a bonkers game. Man, Colorado pulls out the win over Baylor in overtime. Baylor was up 21-10 in this game in the third quarter at this point.
Yeah, I think it was actually 24-10. They were up 14. I
Oh,
think,
right, yeah.
yeah, before Colorado got a touchdown just before halftime. So they were up at that point. And yeah, this was just a wild, chaotic game, especially like in the fourth quarter and overtime. I mean, talk about like what happened like right at the end of the game where you had the receiver Colorado ball hits his like chest right there, and that could have easily been a walk-in touchdown, but he drops it. But then they still get the touchdown anyways on the next play, and they go to overtime. Then Colorado gets another TD because I think they started overtime with the ball. They
Yeah, they
won the coin
did.
toss, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, and then Baylor was on offense, and he had the running back, I Bleav, dive for the end zone, try and tie the game. Ball's fumbled. It goes out of the end zone for a Colorado touchback, and it's a win. And you see all the Colorado, like the students, just rushing the field. Although there was still a review because the official had to make sure if either he did fumble before breaking the plane or not, and they had a touchdown. So it's just wild seeing all the Colorado fans just rush on the field, like waiting outside like the 25-yard line.
Right. Yeah, man, that was an interesting game by Baylor, and it was a boneheaded call at the end of the game, coaching wise, by Dave Aranda because he called a timeout that didn't even need to be called.
No, it was incomplete. So like it was incomplete. So the clock would have stopped anyways.
Oh, okay, so that's
Yeah,
what
because it
happened.
was an incomplete pass. Yeah, the clock stopped anyways. I'm guessing he called a timeout because like to get his defense set. And unfortunately, the defense wasn't meant to be, but still.
Gotcha. That's unfortunate. Now they move to 2-2, and I Bleav they're on bye week next week.
Yeah, I
Before
Bleav
they
so.
play us and Ames, that's going to be the whiteout game.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that whiteout
so
game is.
yeah,
I'm hoping it's just gonna be one of those special things. I'm just like thinking need to come out of a win against Houston, like kind of take care of business against Houston overall. So that's what I'm looking for. And
yeah. You have any other thoughts?
not really. Just I mean, Matt Campbell is now tied Dan McCartney for the most wins as an Iowa State head coach. Next week he's gonna go for the outright record. So let's got to see where we go. And again, Iowa State finally starts conference play. Just got to see where we're at. But I'm feeling really good about this team. think this team's gonna have something special. It's got like similar expectations maybe to the 21 team, but I think we have more substance now because we have like younger players. We have an offensive coordinator who's much more open to opening the book. And I think we're gonna be able to utilize our talent more and be a better squad than that squad was.
I think the one thing that separates the 21 and 24 teams is that the 24 team has a lot more mental toughness. Um, like that 21 team definitely would have folded during that Iowa game. We've seen it before.
Yeah,
So like, man, the mental toughness of this team, I think is definitely going to be a difference, which is why I think we're going to get to the goals to where we need to be.
yeah, and I mean Arlington's there. Maybe the playoff is right there as well. Who knows?
Sky is the limit. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. Join us on Wednesday night as we do our preview for the Houston Cougars. We will have a guest, so that it's going to be a treat. You guys will enjoy our guest. Um, once again, once again, find him at Matt Campbell impersonator. Find me at SciTag on Twitter. Also follow our pages. Bleav Bleav in Iowa State on Facebook, X on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. For Tyler Carter,
Cody Manciolello,
this is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
go Cyclones.